All right, back to work on the bike, and this is what I showed towards the end of the last video. I showed this kind of before, and now I'm going to show it after. Yeah, it came out pretty nice, and I'm going to start bead blasting components and getting them ready to paint. So a lot of the little odds and ends on the bench there, I'm going to bead blast some, get them ready to paint, and I'll start on this in the next day or two. I ate too much on Thanksgiving, and yeah, I just don't feel up to working on the frame, doing, hand sanding and stuff. So we're going to do some bead blasting today. All the bolts are going to get painted satin black, so I'm going to blast some too, and the brackets are going to be the gloss black acrylic enamel. These are part of the engine mounting brackets. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I'm doing so you can kind of see. And then I kind of look them over, make sure I got even the threads. I want to make sure to get the rust off them. That way the bolts will turn easier, and I'll thread these on long ways because some of the threads, like you can see where the threads are rusty. I don't know if that shows up there or not, where it's rusty. The last quarter or so inch, that's because those threads were showing. And I want to sandblast them and glass. These are glass beads. I say sandblast, but it's 80 grit glass. That doesn't thread on any further, so the threads must be buggered up. So I'll have to get a wrench on it. That's pretty good. This is the kickstand, the regular one. This will all be, the whole kickstand will be the satin black, because that's the way they kind of originally were. It's currently snowing out, so I'm not going to go out and paint. Prime or anything. I'm just going to bead blast. Leave everything in the cabinet until I can go out and prime. This one's got some really rusty bolts on it. Try and clean those threads up before I thread it on more, and then it'll thread on easier. Bead blasted a bunch of the components. Most of these are engine mounting. This is a center kickstand. That's the little kickstand. These are the rear brake. These are for the big kickstand that's for. And these are all the rubbers from the battery tray, which I'm about ready to throw in the blast cabinet. And I got all these blasted. They look pretty good. Bolt there for the kickstand. That's the big kickstand. Little chunk broken out of it, but we won't worry about that. It still works good, as I've been using it since I bought the bike. And the regular kickstand right here. All right, let me get this in the blast cabinet. I think this will be it for the day as far as blasting goes. And then tomorrow I'll start, hopefully if it's not snowing, maybe I can paint a few of these bits that are satin black so they don't rust. Get everything out, get everything primed at least with metal etching primer. All right, let me get this thing going. You can see what all is involved in, some cleanup here. Maybe getting time to put a new filter in the vacuum. It's starting to get dusty in here a little bit as I blast. I think after I finish this bit, put a new filter in the vacuum. I use drywall bags in it. Saves a lot of crud in the vacuum and wear and tear on it. That looks pretty darn good. I'd say we'll call that bead blasted. Yeah, that looks a lot different than what it did before, doesn't it? Looks like I might blast a little bit more right there. I can see a little tiny bit of surface rust left in those pits. That battery acid, you know, back when they probably had lead acid batteries in here, did the job in a few places with pits. But it's got a glass mat battery in it now. All right, I'm just going to hit a couple spots a little bit more just to make sure I get all the, so it doesn't rust again, get all the stuff off of it. I gave that a little bit more blasting. That's ready for primer. And it's still snowing out. This is the next day. So I'm going to start working on that rear swing arm, get it in the blast cabinet, but I'll kind of show you. It's, yeah, I put some lights up in the garage too. I mean, why not? It's after Thanksgiving. Oh, and here's that wreath that all estate sale stuff. Well, basically all my Christmas lights and stuff are estate sale, but that's the wreath I did project. You can see I did a little different bow for it, but there we go. And yeah, I think maybe the snow shows up. I cleaned the driveway off. You can see where I walked out here before I cleaned the driveway off. But yeah, it's really nice out. Not good for painting in this, you know, while the snow's coming down. I don't mind painting in the cold. You can run out the door, spray, run back in, the paint dries. But when it's snowing, I don't want snowflakes on my paint. I don't think it'd be too good for them. Anyway, there's some of the, I illuminated the lights because it's snowing out and I thought they would look nice, all illuminated. So there we go. All right, let me get back to the bike now that I've kind of shown my vintage Christmas lights. These vintage blow mold candles that were my grandparents. And I touched up the paint on the snowman. It was getting kind of faded looking. So that's all done up. Oh, and yeah, even using some of these, I don't know if that shows in the video or not, but it's one of those, I don't know, like twisted glass or fluted or rippled bulb, whatever you want to call it. There, can you see now? All right, let me get back to work on the first thing I need to do is wipe this down of all the grease before I try and blast it. And I want to tape that up there so nothing, you know, I want to try and keep it clean. I don't think it'll hurt the rubber grommets, but I don't want to have to clean it all the way down in there of debris. But anyway, I might throw it in the parts washer and then give it a bead blasting. So let me get to it. Just kind of stuff cleans off pretty easy. It's probably the grease from the chain, you know, and if they lose the chain, I don't know. But it's greasy, so I suspect they did. But anyway, it's hard to hold the camera and do this all at the same time. And I don't feel like getting the tripod out just to bore you with running a parts washer. So anyway, let me get this thing cleaned up and then we'll bead blast it and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. There we go, that looks ready for paint. No more grease on it, or not paint, the bead blast cabinet, none paint. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of show before it's after it's degreased, and then I'll show you obviously after it's bead blasted and then painted. That is all bead blasted, and I'm going to take these off, these aluminum things, before I paint it. And but it's basically totally ready for paint. Yeah, it came out nice. So I got, as soon as it stops snowing, I can start priming bits. I'm going to get all the bolts out of these and into some cardboard. I'll show you how I do that. And then because the bolts are going to be a different color, the brackets are going to be gloss black, acrylic enamel, these are going to be satin black. So yeah, everything's coming along. We're getting a lot of the parts. So I got this, I'll do these, this, and I got to take these apart. You know, it's just a cotter pin and a pin. Well, that's not even, that's just a bit of wire. So somebody's had that one apart. This one's got cotter pin in it. And that one's got a cotter pin. And we'll clean the spring up and paint this and, you know, get it all, maybe buff that. So these are next. I got to straighten that. I got to bead blast these. I got to take this apart so I can bead blast that one bracket. So those, that, and disassemble these and do these. And I don't know, I might take this, I was thinking of taking everything off this metal bracket and repainting the metal. Oops, my bolt sport fell out. They're on the floor somewhere now. I'll dig them up in a minute. But anyway, I was thinking of repainting that metal bracket too. So a lot of stuff to do yet, but Monday, if one bolt, another bolt, but I don't see the washer. It's got to be around somewhere on the floor there. Monday, I'm going to go to a place and just get a rough idea what they'd charge me to sandblast this or bead blast it or whatever they do. Sand is fine on it. And because I think that would come out so much nicer if they can do it for under $100. So I'll be honest with you here for a minute. I paid $500 for this motorcycle. I got maybe 50, 60 bucks into it. Now all this paint and stuff I have from previous projects. So the paint's really not costing me anything if I added it on. I mean, I bought it for other projects, but as much as the silver I used out of that quart, there's probably $20 worth of materials on that engine. And I'll probably have about 20 or 30 bucks into the black paint. I got a gallon and a half of the, I got this in a full unopened gallon. And this is all from previous projects. And so I'll, you know, I'm trying to do this on a budget. I want to try not to have over $1,000 into this all said and done when it's rideable, including if I have to rejet the carburetors, buying new jets, which are very inexpensive. But you know, but I bought the handlebars and this and these and a few odds and ends already. I think I'm going to get new coils. They're not very expensive. I'll have probably, I want to order the parts before all these tariffs go into effect. So I have everything I need before January 20th because I don't want to have to pay 25% more for my parts. So we're going to get all the parts ordered probably within the week. And if I take this in to have it blast them, knock these races out and take this tag off, there's, like I say, there's a couple little holes. You can push these rivets out. And then sometimes they glue these to the, so you take a razor blade and you just kind of work it off. And but I think that's gonna come out good. But I haven't done anything to it yet because I was thinking of just having it blasted. If it's not too expensive, it just will come out that much nicer. As nice as the engine came out, and everything else is blasted. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm at the point of maybe taking this in. But yeah, I'm getting down, don't have a lot of parts to clean up. And then I do the frame, we're ready to put the bike back together, start reassembling it. So yeah, it's moving along pretty good. I do gotta deal with this though. After about 3 or 4 days of snow flurries and snow showers, we're finally getting some sun and no snow, so I'm going to start priming things, and that's metal etching primer I'm going to use. Got all my little bits painted. I think they'll look nice in these satin black. That's one of the engine mount bolts. You don't really see a lot of this stuff, but like that kickstand spring, the kickstand's that color, so why not have it that color? All the mounting bolts. Yeah, instead of having shiny bolts, why not have, you know, that way there's a little contrast between the gloss black. That's for the center kickstand. And like I say, engine mounting hardware. And these things that are going to be gloss black acrylic enamel are just, I'll get the little door jam gun out and spray these another day. You can kind of see how it looks. Those are more engine mounting stuff. All of these brackets are too. The controller swing arm, or whatever you want to call it, came out pretty nice. I think that'll look nice once it's all painted up. And I painted the center kickstand. Came out pretty good. And the regular kickstand, which came out nice. And that spring will go from, you know, it's connects in here, you know, so you, like I say, it'll look good. And I'll show you what I use, and the reason why the paint I use it is because it's super easy to touch up. This is what I used. It's durable. I've painted all the kickstands and stuff like that on past motorcycles, and I've never had to repaint one. The XL175's kickstand is painted with that, and it still looks fantastic. But yeah, I think that will, you know, and that way, you know, these things are going to get beat up from your foot kicking it down and this on the pavement and stuff. So in the future, if somebody wants to touch it up, you know, it's super easy to do. You can pull it off and respray it, or just mask it and spray it. It just makes so much easier. And like I say, it's a good, durable paint, very corrosion resistant. I think Rust-Oleum paints are some of the best for out of sight undercarriage of cars and stuff. More durable than any of that Pure 15 or any of that other overpriced, you know, brand name garbage. Just get yourself some Rust-Oleum, save yourself a ton of money, and it'll last longer than most of the other products. So anyway, there we go. We're getting some things ready for paint. There you can see where you adjust when you adjust the wheel so it's straight, so you don't dog track down the road. And I'm going to start cleaning on the frame. There we go. I degreased the frame, all that stuff, both sides, all the way around everything. So now when I sand and grind and do whatever I need to do, I won't be working oil into everything and spreading it around on everything. Very important to get your grease and oils off things before you start, you know, your restoration project, you know, or prepping for paint or anything like this. This also gives you kind of a before look. Yeah, and the light isn't that great in some areas, but you can see this is pretty rusty and crummy down in there. Yep, frame's pretty beat up, so we'll get it all looking like new again. It's not going to have any decals on it anymore. This is something about the, I don't know, the battery or something. But we're not going to put those back on, or this one. Just going to leave it as clean as possible. Another day and it's not snowing, so I'm going to paint these, this. It's just easier if, you know, if I paint the frame all by itself. So only other things I have gloss black other than the frame that I got to paint is this, that, just these pieces. So I'm going to spray them right now while it's nice out. It's about 36, 38 degrees out. And then I can, you know, just run outdoors, spray them, bring them back in while they tack up. And then this kind of stuff I can just do as I please if it's crummy out or something. Or I can sand on this after this tacks up 24 hours and I'll sand on this. But tomorrow, this is Monday, tomorrow is Tuesday, I plan on taking this to a place that does headstones to see what they'd charge me to sandblast it. Sometimes they're a little cheaper. So if I can get this thing blasted for under $100, I'm going to have it done. Otherwise, I'm just going to do it myself, sand it out and clean it up myself. So we'll see. I mean, for $100 or less, I think it'd be worth getting it blasted. But you know, that place I used to use in the past, which was always around $100 or around 200 right now, as I called them and talked to them, and that's a little more than what I want to spend to get that blasted. So this frame here, yeah, I'm not going to need to blast. This one's in the best shape of all the frames of all the bikes I've done, other than the back area where a cat had been spraying on the bike. You know, this is like the worst of the whole bike. It's right there, this rear trailing arm. So we'll paint everything up on this bike too when we're done with this one. And this one's moving along pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the progress on it, because once that's painted, which hopefully will be within the week and a half, 2 weeks at the most, depending on the weather. You know, I got to play with the weather here for spraying it. Then the bike is ready to reassemble. The engine came out really nice. Everything else is, you know, all the bits and pieces are coming out nice. So hopefully we'll have a bike ready to reassemble soon. All right, let me get to mixing some paint. This is the spray gun I'm going to use. It's my little Badger Model 400. I love this little gun. I absolutely, my favorite gun. You know, it's easy to control the paint if you just want a little bit or if you want a lot. Change the spray pattern, whatever you want. You can change the tip angle. Just a dandy little gun. And one paint cup should paint everything I got here. So let me get the paint in the shaker, get it mixing, and we'll get to mixing some paint. Coat one. Oh, missed a little right there. All right, let that tack up and we'll hit it with another coat. Almost need to hang this from something. It's kind of heavy to hold on to while I'm spraying it. think while the paint's tacking up, I'm gonna definitely look for something to hang this from, because this is not easy. It melts in, so you know it's still wet when I'm touching these spots I see that I missed. Alright, that's one coat. We'll let this tack up, and then we'll, about 15-20 minutes, we'll give everything a final coat of paint. I'm not going to video that because you know you won't see it going on like you did the black over the green primer. Well, that was a major component all painted up nicely. Yeah, it looks a lot better than what it did, doesn't it? Don't you think the bike will look good with all this looking like this? I do. Yeah, it came out nice. This is the bottom underneath side. The other side was the top side of the control arm. Yeah, I'm super happy with the way it came out. And then the battery box. This had a lot of deep pitting in it, and I'm not doing body work on a battery box, but yeah, it came out pretty darn good too. That'll protect it in the future, and plus it'll look nice on the bike. And then the little engine mounting brackets. See if I can get the light, you can kind of, there we go. Yeah, so they're going to look really, really nice once this is all painted up. The chain guard goes in here, and the chain guard bolts there and there. So, yeah, and then these brackets, which I painted a matte black, that were originally chrome. These will be kind of up in here. Actually, I think they go this way, so this one would be, yeah, that one would be that side, and it kind of goes, so that'll be a nice contrast. There's a slight difference in shade, so it doesn't look like it was all painted as an assembly. You know, I didn't want it to look like, oh, somebody just masked the bike off and sprayed it. So you have a little different sheen, which I think it'll look nice like that being an aftermarket part. So instead of chrome, a matte black, like, you know, like a lot of the other, like these components, for example. That looks nice. So these will be this color, this metal part will be that color. All those bits will be this color. Same with here. These I'll probably just clean up any of the metal here. One of them's smashed a little bit. This one, yeah, I gotta straighten that out a little bit. And I gotta straighten that, and I gotta clean this, and this is gonna be matte, this matte black color. All right, let me clean the spray gun. This is just fresh in from paint. Yeah, the paint jobs in my spray booth come out nice. You don't get dirt and dust, and this time of year when you paint, there's no bugs, and there's no real dirt in the air. And I don't know, I just like painting like this. Take them outdoors even though it's cold out. I turned the heat up to 70 in the garage, let everything warm up, all the parts, and then turned the heat up first thing this morning, and now it's after, well, 15 after 1, and I turned the heat up probably about 10 a.m. So the parts got warmed up, and now I'm going to leave it at 70 the rest of the day, and then I'll turn it down to 65 overnight. And then tomorrow So if it's not too expensive to get that blasted, I'll have it blasted. If it's too expensive, I'll start sanding and you know, get it ready for paint. That's, you know, the last major. This stuff here will be nothing. And like I say, a majority of the stuff is painted. These are for the exhaust. You don't really see them, but I'm going to paint them high heat black, high temperature black, which is a real flat black. So those are going to be a duller black, but like I say, you don't see them. And then I think that'll look good with these. These will hold them in, and I'm going to paint wire wheel, clean all that rust out of there. I don't want to clean the chrome off, just the rust, because I'm going to paint them that high heat black, and then I'm going to polish the chrome. So that's my goal with those. I think that'll look nice. I got to clean all the exhaust studs, and they sell chrome acorn cap screws for these. I think that would look nice on these, so I might order a set of them too. They're not terribly expensive. And this I want to clean up and get on the steering lock today so I don't lose the lock cylinder, which is on the key in my lock box. But anyway, we're going to do stuff today that doesn't stir dirt up while this stuff tacks up, sets up, and starts to harden. All right, let me clean the spray gun. I've been yapping long enough. Oh, I'll edit up you guys a video on this estate sale motorcycle fix up. Yeah, this bike I did pick up in an estate sale, so it goes along with my estate sale stuff. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Very happy with the way things look here. If you like my channel, that 348 engine icon will subscribe you, and if you like my video, definitely hit the thumbs up icon, as it'll help get more viewers and help with a little bit more money to put into these projects. So hit that thumbs up icon if you like my video, and thank you for watching.